What is up, everybody? Welcome to the final Tilt City of the Premier League season. We're doing a season wrap up. It's the Tilt City 11s, Tilt City All Stars. We don't really have a name for it at this point. The All Tilt City squads. I'm Alex Hooper. This is Tom Stoss, here to wrap up the season. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. FSI. It's so cool to let us hang out here all season long and just come talk about whatever. Talk about things in Cleveland that no one knows about. Also talk about some DFS soccer. So
just watching us hang out, pretty much. Thanks for watching us do that. If we were together, we would watch a soccer game together and do this, but we got to do it here, and you get to watch. Congrats.
Great. We're 1,300 miles apart. We were gonna have to FaceTime and stuff through this pandemic anyway, so we're just doing it in front of people, for better or for worse. So so this was your first season doing this. Did we play the whole season? Did you do the whole season, or did you come in like mid-season?
I came in like October, November, and that was a really rocky start to begin with. So yeah, I was just getting the wheels spinning around then. I was scared to do it even in those times. So it's like a really like a gray area of when I would feel like I started. Yeah, half the season's good. Let's say that.
Okay. So yeah, and this was my first full season. I started, at the outset of the pandemic, so I got the last half of last season, but I did the full season this year, and went pretty well. I think I forgot. I just remembered someone who had to be on my team, but didn't make the cut, despite the fact that they won me most of my profit all time. But we'll get to it, and I'll bring them up. So how?
That's why I looked at full player lists for all these teams like a couple of weeks ago. Even I did this so I could look at everyone, like everybody who played in the Premier League, see how I felt about them, and then let it stew for a couple of weeks and see who popped up. And I made some changes, and yeah, you really got to sit on it for a little bit. You got to give a good comprehensive view to a totally subjective thing, pretty much. That's the key of it. I can't be wrong, so it was fine to be wrong. Yeah,
this is going to be our best week so far because of that. How was it overall for you this season? Just ups and downs. That's the way DFS goes. Is that what it was for you?
Yeah, it was. It's we've said it a million times. It's all about like the recovering and picking yourself and looking at what you did the whole time. It was just a long process of seeing, what I came up with on my own, what I could come up with on my own, what made sense to sort of receive knowledge, what worked with people week to week. So it's really nice to have this wrap-up show so I can say, oh, that guy comes through. That guy doesn't really come through. That's a GPP play. That's a cash play. And yeah, it was really nice to get that reinforcement. I was just near to the end. I feel like getting like a really good handle on, just like how to make it work and get close to the nuts. And I'll be ready to go next season to put all that to use, and during Euros too. But that's going to be a mess.
Different animal. Yeah.
All
these friendlies are either like 7-0 or 1-0 or nothing. Like it's either it's all or nothing pretty much. And then I went back and watched all the goals from the last Euros, and there were so many like 3-2s, and I don't know how to do so.
You're a braver man than me for touching these, because I had one taste of the international friendlies and I was like, no, I'm all right. I'm not betting on a practice game, pretty much.
Yeah, the subs will get you. Like you pretty much like cash lineups for this are really hard because your guys get bounced. But
no thanks, man. Good for you.
But yeah, so it was a fun season. I was very happy to do this. We'll continue. We'll keep it rolling. I was just looking, like, we've been doing this for 8 months now.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for all the guidance so far. Thanks to everyone in the community for, like all the videos, everything I've read and put together. I really appreciate it. It's been, everyone's been there to sort of bounce off ideas off of. So yeah, ready for next year. I'm excited.
Yeah, let's get after it. And
let's do it.
It'll be a good season next year. But yeah, let's dive into the teams. So this is just gonna be a fun look back at who we loved playing, who came through with us most often, and why from a DFS perspective. And of course, we're gonna joke around a little bit, but then at the end we're going to get to our all tilt teams. Both of us have an 11 of guys who always send us tilting, more or less at least, and we're going to go through them one by one. So let's see, hopefully this works. All right, we're going to start with your Thomas Excellence 11. We'll go one by one and look at Look at the guys that you loved. Of course, I picked you a manager. Let's see if it
Oh,
works. Oh
did
no,
you
is
get
this not going to work? We should have tested this. There it is. There he is.
I
There's Tommy.
don't know why I was expecting Bielsa. I mean, like
probably would have been a good pick.
like the prestige pick, I feel like is him. But for Thomas Excellence, I don't even know why I ever thought that anyone else but Tommy. You know, he's the guy, of course, and he's excellent.
And I went with the more safe for work version, as opposed to the one from behind, which is way better, but also way less quality.
That's what I was. Yeah, like I don't know if you put up the low quality one that you sent me, if it would even like register as like a guy. It would be like we'd have to tell someone this is Thomas Tuchel and he's just spraying his boys down. But he's doing that there. We can easily tell, and it's straight on, so it feels less threatening.
I was happy to get a really goofy face. Plus, there's champagne on the camera, so you got a couple of little dots there.
Oh, it feels like we're really there. Yeah, thanks for that.
All right, let's get on to the team.
Yeah.
Start with your keeper. It's the man,
baby.
the myth, the legend. Probably the most talked about keeper on this show. It's Nick Pope.
Because he's like, I feel like he was one of the few that made sense, at least with when you were just looking at what you expect and like in getting a result out of him. He's the guy. He's gets you saves. They can lose by 3 goals, and he can get you close to 10 points sometimes. And he's really cheap. And we love Nick Pope. Yeah, we love him.
And keepers are priced by the odds and how often were Burnley going to be favorites. So you were plugging them in. But I mean, there were other guys like that. I know one guy that you'll talk about. There are a lot of guys. Ramsdale was another guy who not until the end of the season. But early in the season, like they were just getting battered, and he never really made a lot of saves.
Areola was like that too. Sometimes, at least with Pope and Burnley, you could count on like them. They might pull out a win. They might not lose or whatever. So like that was nice for them, and they stayed up. Areola's down, but he similarly worked out a couple times like that. It's no one but Nick to me.
I love it. I probably would have picked him had you not picked him. Although we do have, I think, one guy or maybe two who overlap. So all right.
Yeah, I don't mind an overlap. I'm not. I understand why they're there. If we wanted that many rules, we would have done it.
That's true. There will be one. Let's see. Can I goof with this? Active speaker video.
What the hell does that mean?
So I just realized there's going to be, I don't know if this moves around for anybody, but I'm just moving us around the screen because there's going to be people who come up in this area of the screen. And I didn't think about that until now. So, all right, let's keep going. We'll hit that one when it comes to it. Let's go out to your left back. It's Luke Ayling.
Yeah, I think did I only have a couple more Leeds guys here? I don't know. I have a lot of love for my Leeds guys. For a while there, he was like kind of cheap and his price went up as he went along, but like he's such an active like fullback running up the side there, supplying Rafinha, whoever he can. And it was always a guy I feel like I could rely on. Got pricey, but I don't care. It's Leeds. I like him.
Right around the time he got pricey too, I think he moved to center back for a few matches, and then it brought his price down. Yeah,
that was really nice. I love when things like that happen. I was looking for, well, not injuries, because that I never want a guy to get hurt, but like time away from the starting is like, okay, all right, we can cool this down for a minute. We can go bear market.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's nice every now and then. And it's funny how guys do dip because of injuries and stuff like that. But yeah, when he was playing center back, like you couldn't play him, especially at his price point. But he was active and he made a difference for a lot of my lineups too. So
yeah, I liked him a lot.
All right. I was this must have been, you must have caught a goal late or something with Aymeric Laporte.
This is one of those ones where like I think this is more the cheap side to me and getting clean sheets than anything else. He might come away with the good tackles just because he's he's not a bad player. And because of like City's rotation, like you could expect a cheap guy like that to play and deliver just about as well as like a Ruben Diaz or John Stones was kind of like this too. So I just liked having him around. This was one though that was definitely the center, the defensive side is a little bit weirder to justify it as we'll get into, probably more on the tilt side.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a very subjective one. This is not, I just, more the price point than anything.
He was cheap. I forgot about that time where he was like 2,800 for a couple of weeks, and they were like, that was during when they were just getting a clean sheet every time out. So
yeah, I think that's probably what locked him in here for me, if anything.
That's a good shout. I would have probably gone with Diaz or Stones because they played so much, and you got more goals out of Stones, and then Diaz was the cheap one for a while, but I forgot about that stretch with Laporte. Good memory.
That was really nice.
Good memory. Thanks. I think I was a little more recency bias. All right, Wesley Fofana. Go ahead. Sorry.
Real quick on Laporte, I also had him on my ultimate team, so I'm a little biased that way too.
That helps.
Yeah, but yeah, Fofana is a guy. I mean, this is a guy I just like a lot. I like watching him. A lot of hopes for his future, and he was cheap a lot of times in Leicester, and like that run, they were a little spotty sometimes, but you could count on him. Like he even got forward a little bit. He like gets like active enough because he's young and ready to go. And yeah, I love Wesley Fofana, man. And he came through for me a couple of times. I don't remember no goals or anything, but like he would turn in like a 5-point, performance without a clean sheet even. So it's nice to have.
Yeah, you like those punt defenders. So
I love to punt. I love it.
Yeah, clean sheets are nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's move out right.
Wrap it out.
Probably the best, the most lockable player in all of the land. It's Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yep. Yeah. Almost a constant, like a 15-point return on him. Just like a guy that like you can like really like solidly build around. Just loved having him there. And I really what settled him in, like especially like mid-season, was we talked this about a million times, but him sort of edging out Robertson is one. It's you can count on him to usually do that, but two, you can also pivot off him to Robertson to get a little bit of an edge that might present itself. So once I got the balance of that, I really came in a good place with TAA.
Yeah,
and there's a dark side to this coin that we'll get to later, not to spoil things too much. But he's in my alt team. Yeah, he's a good guy to get in.
Yeah, it's tough to move off of him. You could always count on him. Definitely a guy like out of the big ones, like De Bruyne and Bruno. He was the one where I think you wanted to pivot off of him the least in GPPs because you were getting De Bruyne, Bruno level floors at 60% of the price. So
right.
And I think I probably did it opposite. I think I probably faded TAA more this year instead of Bruno and KDB when I should have done the other way around, especially with the ownerships. But it's not like he was low owned. But all right, you ready to move on?
Let's do it.
This guy might have your captain's armband. I'm not quite sure.
Of course, it's big time Tommy. We love him. Good. Thanks for going the safe for work edition and not doing bloody face. But that cemented me in as the legend of the season when he like I don't even know what happened. Did he get clipped? Did someone headbutt him and he like got that bloody nose or something like that, or he got cut somehow off a header?
I think it was an elbow. I think it was one of those like you jump and you get a little boost by throwing your arm up.
Yeah, but ever since that pick of him like that Tottenham match, I've loved him. I loved him before, but like yeah, and this is really not based on. I mean, you got a couple good returns. I tilted him with it nearly as much as I like actually enjoyed him, but I love him. I can't wait to see what the is the Czech team in the Euros. I don't even know. Do you have any idea? Well, hopefully they are, and I'll see him there. Hopefully.
Oh, that'd be a bummer if you don't get to. I want to say they are. I think like most nations that you know of, and most nations who have players in the Premier League would be in. But
yeah.
You
might not get some like it's just like once you go further and further east, it's like less of those guys generally show up. So like I don't know, like
Romania,
like Bulgaria, but like those guys don't make the cut all the time or sometimes ever. So yeah, I don't know, but they're not that far out. So there's enough guys too. I hopefully I see him. God, come on, buddy.
I hope so. All right, let's move on. I was surprised by this one. Tanguy, not the greatest DFS producer. Pretty goal assist dependent, but why did he make the squad?
This is, I think, one that like I was at a lot of benefit of starting halfway through because I could like see him. I could see him. I didn't have a full season to see him not produce that well, and this is a very sort of late season one too because there are a couple of times where like it's this is a real theme with me. This cheap guy that I go down and I'm like, okay, I can fit him in with the chalk, and oh, he came through, and because he does produce, and then he came through again and again and again. And on a Spurs team where that isn't necessarily happening that much, when you have a 2 or 3 game slate, it's great to have a guy like that, especially when he's cheap.
Well, I mean, and you got some big hitters in your squad too, so you got to save some money somewhere.
Yeah.
I did. Your team's built well. I think your team would actually fit it. If we went back to the old full 11 versions of DraftKings.
Oh no. Is that how it used to be?
Yeah.
Oh,
I would have loved to have played that, but I think this team might actually fit. You might have actually been able to fit it within the salaries, but
yeah, I think so too. That's nice.
Yeah, right, Tanguy was cheap though, like 3,800 for quite a bit, and then Ryan Mason stopped playing him. So
yeah. Oh well, he's a genius. He can't stop him from doing what he knows how to do.
One of our own.
Oh yeah, here we go.
Youri Tielemans.
Youri.
Big time late in the season for sure.
Yep. Yeah. Looking back at this, it is kind of funny. There's so many guys that I could swap out all over the place, and it is highly subjective leading to the end of the season in terms of who I have here and who produced for me. But Tielemans was a guy that the thing with these guys too, I should have said this earlier. Sometimes I loved them, fell out of love with them, and then fell back in love with them. And I think he was kind of one of these guys. He sort of had a slump, picked it back up, and then was pretty reliable ever since. So a nice piece to count on.
He got dropped mid-season and then made his way back into the team later in the year. I get it.
That's right. Was that Madison, right? Yeah, because that made room for him, kind of.
Oh, I meant for your team, but yeah.
Oh, for my team, yes, absolutely, yeah.
But that
Sorry,
too.
I was trying to wet because I feel like he wasn't around a lot of the time halfway through.
But right. Yeah, you're right. Definitely. He was a big producer down the stretch. He was great. Except when Mark Albrighton was in. Took a lot of sets from him, and then he lost a lot of value. All right, here's your front three. Let's see if they fit on the screen without our dumb mugs in front of them. Well, we got a false nine. We got a false nine here. I dropped Kevin into the false nine for you. One of my favorite things about your team was, and it's not the case with your tilt team, but this one, so we'll see it when it's full. You got 2 more forwards coming up. You got the false nine, but you have Tanguy and Youri as some nice holding midfielders. You got Souček, who could drop back into a back three as your wing backs push up. It's actually a pretty good team. I like that.
Yeah, this is worked out bizarrely well. I think I have again to FIFA. This is what the Lincoln City career Premier League winning formation kind of looks like. So yeah, I'm a little biased in terms of what formation looks like. It just happened to come together. I was looking for good vibes mostly.
You do have that. Tell us about De Bruyne that we don't already know.
What is there to be said? There's if I could have put a lock emoji in Notepad where I have this up, I would have put it for KDB and TAA. He's just a guy that you you're always multiple assists, possibly even a goal. Maybe not even without that, he hits 20 points. Just an incredible guy to get in there, and almost always worth the price.
Yeah.
We're lucky to have him.
Yes. you got a nice squad coming together here. All right, let's get to your forwards. Maybe a left wing, maybe a left striker. It's Nacho.
Yeah, absolutely. This is another these lesser guys are all late season sort of a bias going on there, but yeah, he was another one I fell out of love with. Well, I fell out of love with, but I never really loved him. And then I let him in there as kind of a lower end forward. And then the guy that I always found a way to make room for. Kind of a gamble because he's a goal dependent guy, but he was putting in those goals. It's just so you have a guy that does it, it's not that much of a risk anymore.
Yeah, once he actually does it.
When he does it, a couple happened where he didn't, but the vibe, he's on the higher side than the lower side for me.
He was just so consistent late in the year.
Yeah.
So that was a huge deal. So all right, we might have to talk about him again. Let's get to your final piece.
Yeah.
You got Rafinha out wide, more of a winger for you. So your formation might have to change a little bit. I don't know that Nacho's comfortable as a winger, but regardless.
We can work with it a little bit. There's room to play here. We got a team full of dynamic guys. And we have Thomas Excellent, and we can do anything with Thomas Excellent on our side.
This is
No,
true.
but yeah, and Rafinha is like, if this was a team, I would take him 100% of the time. He is almost a lock to me if Leeds were a little bit more consistent. But he's pretty damn close to a guy I got to get in there or find room for 75% of the time.
Yeah, even without sets, he was still pretty good. But when he had sets, he was a world beater for a while. So
Yeah.
We'll see if he goes he's rumored to Liverpool.
Oh no! I knew it would happen. Like I didn't know Liverpool, but I had a bad feeling he would go to some evil team.
I don't understand how you'd fit in their side, to be honest, but we'll see. I'm sure Klopp can figure it out. He's good. That's all that matters.
I'm sure he can ride the bench there. So many people can ride benches. It seems like that. He'll be great sitting on the sidelines there. We'll see.
We will.
I am really excited to see how the transfer window pans out, how this offseason goes. But
yeah,
neither here nor there. Yes,
we'll see who actually has money. That'll be a big thing.
But, yeah.
Villa just made the splash for Emi Buendia from Norwich, who is a fantastic DFS player, but who knows if he will be at Villa with Traore and El Ghazi and Grealish and all the people stealing sets. So, all right. That's the Thomas Excellence 11. Drink it in. Now we can move on to my guys here. Here's Tilt City FC. Went boring. Name of the show and everything. But we are managed by Daddy Posh, holding the, I don't know what trophy I would have. The second place in the big GPP trophy, or the really good at international friendly showdowns trophy. Some non-major trophy, just like PSG won this year. French Cup or whatever. All right. My keeper is Emi Martinez. I believe probably tied with James Ward-Prowse or ahead of him in the most Tilt City covers of the season. It was one of he broke so many slates, and while I didn't get to him all the time, I got to him enough. So there's my keeper. Out left, I got Luke Shaw. A nice, not pivot necessarily off of TAA. Nice to play with TAA if you could. But always got there, especially once he took the sets from Bruno. I loved some of that. Luke Shaw, fantastic. Really came into his own.
I thought I had Luke Shaw in my first draft, and I just realized I totally lost him at some point. But that's fine because we covered a little bit with different people.
You couldn't secure the transfer.
No, I couldn't do it.
He renegotiated his contract with us. All right. Jamal Lascelles in here solely because I got, I think, both of his punt goals. So welcome to the squad. That's a cheap addition to the back line. Not that it is going to help our defense. Kurt Zuma, same sort of thing. I feel like I caught a lot of his goals, and I made a good chunk of money off of his goals. Got really expensive at the end of the year.
Yeah. Both these guys, I think I had in like my short list just because I knew that they did work out, but they never worked out for me. So get out of here.
Gotcha.
Don't want
outright, I struggled to come up with anybody here. And then I remembered early in the season, I went to Anthony Robinson a lot, and he was always good for like 8 or 9 points before Kenny Tete got into the side and everything. And then that was pre-red card. I think everything after the red card, about mid-season, he was pretty trash. But American kid, he gets in the side just because, like, I was thinking about Serge Aurier, and he was good for a while, and I played him a lot. But the fact that I played him a lot and that he stopped being good, he missed out on the squad. So let's move into the midfield. Gino Wijnaldum, the man who won me a $1,000 GPP, had to make it in there. He's moved on to, well, he was going to go to Barca, but it sounds like he might join Daddy Poch PSG. So we'll see with him. But play him when you're playing Netherlands slates. Don't play him when you're playing club slates.
Yeah, that got me a couple of times. I got the wires crossed between slates, and it didn't work out for me.
But he was always 3,000 or 3,200, so I used them still.
Yeah, right.
Stuart Dallas. I got to him when he was goal dependent and assist dependent, and he always came through. And then he took sets late in the year, and I definitely always got to him, and he was still good. One of my favorite plays all year. Stayed semi-cheap for most of the season. I loved it. I loved playing Stuart Dallas, and I definitely played him more than I should have. Harvey Barnes, lest we forget,
Of course.
got me. He made me like 750 in a day. On a slate that didn't have a huge prize pool. I always went to him. He always seemed to score, and then he got hurt. And then Lester changed everything up and missed out on the Champions League. But he was fantastic. I look forward to seeing what he can do when he comes back. Gareth, when he played, was very, very good. When he started, was hit or miss, but the amount of money he made me, plus he was on the Gino Wijnaldum winning team.
Okay, nice.
He scored that day too. So I almost put his Welsh version in here, but stacking Spurs a couple times where they won like 4-0, 5-0, and he scored a few. And then there was another his other hat trick. I had plenty of them as well. So Gareth makes the squad. We'll see if he's back next year. I don't think he is.
You got double strikers up top? You did
indeed.
the Hooper special? All right.
Yeah, I guess technically I should have played Vardy because my next guy is Nacho as well. We talked about Nacho. Che Adams, both of these guys are two guys I loved playing that double striker. I loved playing Che Adams with Ings. I loved playing Nacho with Vardy. And if these two guys were on the same team, I would play them together every slate because I like them so much. But I've discussed at length why I like Che Adams. High volume shooter, does a lot of little things. I think he has a better chance to grab you an assist. Just two great GBP plays here. I don't know if they will continue to be, especially Nacho, because I think his price will stay up and I think people will start to play him. But
Nice.
That's my squad.
This is a hell of a squad, man.
First off the bench is Callum Robinson because he was the one who won me that money.
Oh, nice. Yeah. There's like, I feel like who else could I have even thrown in there? I don't know. James Ward-Prowse, yeah, could have easily made the cut.
I thought about it.
He didn't come through for me. I didn't pick him enough times for him to have like a positive, for me to feel like that way about him. But yeah, definitely a short list guy.
Yeah, definitely. More of a cash play, and I started playing more GPP. So I think that had a big deal. That changed a lot of my fortunes and a lot of my teams. So, all right, let's get to the Tilt squads. Here's Tommy Tilt FC. Managed. Oh, he's back. He's back.
I wish I had like a soundboard or something. I feel that's my big goal for moving forward is get like a soundboard, because I don't know if you've ever seen this like clip of him from, I think it was that like there's a couple Spurs accounts that throw this clip around from like a training video where he's just like he's just like explaining to a player or something. He's seriously making that noise. If you go to @NoContext Spurs, it's like their pinned tweet. So anytime I see him now, I just think of that and nothing else, honestly. I don't have any. Hey, have fun out there, buddy. I miss you.
Yeah,
I miss you in my life.
Sure. Enjoy it, Roma.
That's like I think I said a couple of weeks ago when he was out months ago or whenever that was. It was like I knew that we all knew it would happen. We knew how it would go down, but I wanted to enjoy it the way everyone else did. All right. I don't want to get too hung up on Jose because we've done it all year.
It's true. All right, let's get to your keeper.
Let's get to my keeper, Carl Darlow. I don't think he even had the Newcastle starting job by the end of the year. And this is when cheap keepers go wrong. You really can get it crossed if like a guy is seeing shots and because his team like sucks and he can put a hand on him and he's just that like a Nick Pope, well, not that bad, or he's a Carl Darlow who just doesn't seem to ever get there and he just doesn't have those save numbers coming up. And I learned very quickly that's not a type of guy you want to make the 2,000 to 1,000 for a guy who's a risk in the middle range somewhere.
Yeah,
Big tilt guy.
definitely a guy that you paid up for just a little bit, just enough for it to be annoying.
Yeah. So I hate him. I don't know. Hope you get a job somewhere. I don't even know. I don't know what's going on with him, but let's move
First
Yeah.
choice Tilt FC. All right. Ben Chilwell out left, huh?
Yeah, this is one that it was mostly me being salty. A lot of times, there's a lot of saltiness in the tilt picks where it was just I could never hit him when it was a Chelsea guy that you wanted to pick. It was him. I never landed on him. It was some other guy, and I made room for certain other people, and not certainly for so much certain others, or certain like Chilwell. So yeah, a lot of tilting going on with him. It's the name of the game. It's fine.
Most of these guys are going to be like, Darlow is like, hey, maybe play him a little less, and Chilwell's like, yeah, let's probably play him a little more.
Yeah. I'm trying to hit that perfect balance, and these guys are usually where I'm on the wrong side of that balance. Almost all of them, I think, except for a few funny ones here and there.
That's why we tilt. All right.
That's right.
Jan Benderek, huh? This is like a Sol Campbell move. Like, I think he was on both of our teams for a while, and now he goes to the rivals.
Yeah, I don't think he let me down, I guess, a couple times, but it's not really his fault, except for that one. Was it that Man United own goal red card combo that like opened it up so much? And that was also a day where I have a ton of Man United, or I didn't have the pieces that really worked out at all. So him like opening up those floodgates like that was, you're gonna stick in my mind. And it's kind of tough to tilt about the center backs because kind of low expectations, but it was too funny. I couldn't forget this one.
If there are guys who stand out that tilt you at center back, there's a good reason for it.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, probably the best pick on any of these is Lewis Dunk. When I saw him on your squad, I was like, yeah, absolutely, that's the guy. When were you playing Lewis Dunk, and when was he scoring? Never, always.
Yeah. Did he have a good start to the season or something? I feel like there were like good vibes around him. He like was trying to, I don't know. I have no idea where I ever got that from. It might be from playing the very, very simple fantasy Premier League, and like him like pulling in points every once in a while, and he's just stuck in my mind that way. But like ever since that huge free kick goal mishap with West Brom like months ago, he's always just been a really funny guy I like to think of for me. So not so much of a tilt. I'm laughing about him. I did go to him a couple of times and it didn't work, but that's the name of the game.
If that's the case, then the next team is going to come in hard for Dunk in the transfer market, because as soon as I saw that, like, yeah, absolutely. Like, that's the defender who tilted me the most. All right. Outright. Speaking of transfers, he's back. It's TAA.
Yeah, this is sort of a wild card pick for me, but there's a logic here, and it's because he locked so much, and because of the way I sort of do this, I forget to pivot off of at least one of those lock guys when I'm building GPPs. Like if I had unlimited, I would think of it and do it, but I sort of roll downhill. Clock starts to wind down a little bit, and I'm all of a sudden like keeping TA in every single spot. And I miss out on all the savings you can get with the pivot, or sometimes more points with the pivot. This is why I said the Robertson thing. A lot of times I didn't think to do it, but I could see how it would work. Sometimes I did do it, and it did work. A lot of times near the end of the season, getting lazy. No. So that was the sort of had to shake myself out of that, and he bothered me a couple of times like that.
I definitely understand that one, and I have someone like that on my tilt team as well. One of those where when I didn't pivot off of him, he didn't do enough, and when I did, he went off. So, all right, let's move on. Jack Harrison, huh?
Yeah. This was one where I liked watching them play so much, and he was one where it never translated to DFS when I picked him. Like I would expect a good matchup. Because I'm pretty much an amateur at looking at tactics, I don't know how a team's going to line up against another team or how they're going to use a guy. So there's so many times where Jack Harrison, I thought he was going to go somewhere and it just didn't. And I would make room in GPPs and it didn't quite work out. And then 2 weeks later, he's working out for someone else. It's fine. I love the guy, but it just never clicked for me.
Yeah, I get that. It happened to me too.
Yeah.
Now that you say that, there was a stretch there where like I was like, oh, he's still very heavily involved, and then he wouldn't be, and then all of a sudden, at the end of the year, I did end up getting to him because my bias was kind of confirmed, and I was like told to play him once. He had one good game. I was like, I'm playing him every time again. So I get that.
Yeah.
All right, let's move to the middle of the midfield. It's Dwight Mcneil.
Yeah, I feel like this guy is probably the weakest one on this list. I mostly am just like, I don't know where I got the idea that he was good. He was sort of a pivot piece for Burnley for a little bit, right? Wasn't he sort of?
Oh yeah. I think when you started, he was like pretty heavily involved, and he's a young player too.
Yeah, and it's a lesson that was a lesson that I thought I should learn, was picking him up, and it wasn't quite the lesson I should have learned from that. So he really stuck in my mind from that. Some of these guys are too, like, I remember just looking at them week after week and just being like, get out of here. I don't need to bother with you. McNeil's one of those where he didn't really bother me that much, but I was like, thank God that didn't work out. I'll keep you in mind for the end of the team, Tommy Tilt's team.
And I have a guy who you could easily sub in for him because it's the same sort of player, the same sort of production, the same color kit, and he's not on my squad. Jared Bowen.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, I think I get those guys confused all the time because of that.
They're so interchangeable to me.
Yeah.
But Dwight McNeil, I think Dwight McNeil's I think he's going to be a good player.
Yeah.
Bowen, I think, is just a former Hull City guy who takes sets. So, all right. Yeah. Dwight McNeil, I can see it. All right. I was surprised by this one too. Pereira. Matthews Pereira.
Yeah. He was earlier today, before I sent you the final draft of this, he was in my alt team. And I switched him to the Tilt team because he had some good results for me. He was a guy I felt like I could count on, even though his price went justified it. The thing with him was that there was almost always some other play that could get you the 14 points he was racking up. You could usually find savings somewhere, go to the chalk somewhere. Some guy was between two guys. You could maybe put together 20 points, where him is he's giving you just 14 on his own, or more than 20 points, something like that. I don't know. Yeah. And near the end of the season, especially, here we are again. I made that mistake more than once. So I just, when we would do this, when we wrap up and look, and there's not a ton of Pereira, but he put in 15 points for me. I'm sitting here wondering why. And it's because not really that guy all the time.
Yeah. He was very matchup dependent. If you played him against certain teams, he wouldn't show up. Or I think I want to say he scored and maybe had a brace against Liverpool or something. And then you weren't getting to him that match. And I can see it. I totally see it. Yours are probably better than mine because I definitely remember a lot of these as you say them. All right. This was another one I was shocked at. I thought he would be on your other team. It's Riyad Mahrez.
I like him too much, and I could never get a handle on him. This is a guy
bias all-star.
Yeah, so absolutely a guy I could because then the thing became we thought we had it figured out where if Townsend doesn't play or Townsend plays, then you want to fade Eze. If he's out, then you get Eze in there. Zaha mixes that up a little bit, but it was Townsend could come off halfway through the game and then Eze scores. Oh yeah, right. Of course he is, because he's going to do that. And it also doesn't even matter if Townsend's in sometimes he is still the guy. And it was I would go to him expecting that, and nothing would happen because it was Crystal Palace. Yeah, a guy that way too many expectations for. But I like him. I like him a lot.
That's fair.
Yeah.
The only time he had me tilting was the first week of Golazzo, and I kind of said he was one of the guys, and then Townsend did play, and
yeah.
It goes.
And then that's where Benteke is. Did he pull in the only goal, or did he get 2 goals or something like that? I don't know.
Eze ended up having a goal. I think it was 2-0, and it was Benteke and Eze.
Oh, okay. All right. Never mind.
All right.
Let's do it.
Riyad Mahrez.
Yeah, this is another one of those guys that I could never learn quite the lesson from with the matchups or whatever. One of these perennial guys that I'm sure we'll see. Well, hopefully not see going too far forward with this. But yeah, just a guy I could never get a lock on. He would show up and be silent for 5 games, play one, and get 2 goals, and he's a make or break for lineups, and I would totally forget him because he had spent a ton of time just playing second fiddle to whoever. It's gonna happen.
And his sets were a little wonky too, and I feel like I would get to him for sets, and he wouldn't take that many. Like Foden would share them, and if De Bruyne was out, like sometimes Mahrez would get a cut, and sometimes he was tough to peg for sure. But I think he helped me more in showdowns, so he didn't tilt me too often.
Yeah, and wrapping it up is an even bigger example of this. This is like Mahrez like ×3 or whatever. I actually don't even know what his like the amount of times that he would like pull in a performance or what his goals were like this year, but I feel like Arsenal being Arsenal, I don't usually want to touch them anyway. And so when they would show up was kind of hard to figure out. But Aubameyang was like, I swear I would just forget about him and then he'd show up with a hat trick. And then like I would be like, okay, no way he's gonna do that again. And then he like shows up with like some more goals coming up. And it's like I really can never get this guy pegged, and he is sinking me every single time. Well, not every time. The only times that it ever happened, then he would be silent for however long. Really annoying.
He misses a lot of sitters too, which like is incredibly frustrating if you're actually watching. So
yeah.
My favorite thing about your tilt team is that it's 9 guys who like to get forward, a crappy center back, and it's managed by Jose Mourinho. Like this is his hell, I think.
Well, you just have all those guys run downfield, and then someone will bomb it out. Send Carlo to bomb it out to them down there. One of the 10 guys, one of the 9 guys will get to it. I don't know.
And like Chilwell, TAA, Pereira, Harrison, McNeil, Eze, and Mahrez are like all pretty cross-heavy players.
Yeah. I would like to see this team play now that I think about it.
That would be a nightmare.
Yeah. But it'll be funny. And if it's for the funny, who cares?
Yes, we have learned that this year. All right, let's move on to Tilt United. These are my tiltiest players of the year, managed by Frank Lampard, because God knows who he's going to put on sets in any given day. I never knew what he was doing, and it turned out neither did he.
Hey, it takes a genius to wrap up a mess like that.
That's true. Just needed a little more Thomas excellence. If his middle name was Thomas, like he might have been all right. All right.
Not one more thing. Frank failure. Moving on. That's
perfect. Wait, is it your middle name, Frank?
Yeah. Oh, it is. Oh, damn.
Sorry if I just allowed people to like guess your passwords or something like that. I'll ask your mom's maiden name next.
That's fine. You just destroyed like my concept of excellence, though. I have failure and excellence within me.
It's pulsing through your veins. All right. I started with the king of keeper tilts. It's Ederson. He's even got a game named after him. It's the old -150 for a yellow card, but still gets the clean sheet in the win, no saves. That's the Ederson. And I never got it right. I faded him and City when they would get a clean sheet, and I played him when he conceded. And I did it far too often, and then I would get pissed at Ederson and not pay up for any keepers and pick a keeper who gave up 5 goals without getting stopped because I was still so scared of getting an Ederson situation that I just wouldn't pay up for anyone. So he's locked in, full force, number 1 back there. This was a tough one for me. I was like, who am I going to put back here? And then it just clicked. Reggie came over from Real Madrid, and he was crossing. He was making plays defensively. He was flying up the field. He was getting assists. And in the back half of the season, he was just shambolic. Like, as a player, as a DFS player, he was horrid. And it was very sad as a Spurs fan, but it was very tilting because I would get to him in showdowns like, all right, yeah, here's a good floor guy for whatever. You'd be cheap at the end, and it was because he wasn't producing.
Yeah, it was crazy. It drove me crazy so much. I almost never went to him because he pissed me off so much. But like watching him like miss like a couple steps of that journey upfield, that he's trying to get to, and it's like we cannot put this progress together at all. Yeah, these are two really good picks so far. I'm excited to get into yours. I think they could have easily, not to take away from you, but like a flip of the coin, the biases going a different way. These could easily be what I got going on. But
Right.
yeah,
for sure. I don't know that I ever played Reggie in Classic, but he killed me in showdowns.
okay.
This man's name is Craig Dawson. When he scored, they were like the only goals on the slate, and I didn't have any of them. So, and why would you? And then he stopped. He scored like 3 straight games. It was like a Johnny Evans situation. He might have even gotten hurt like Johnny Evans did at the end of the year. But yeah, Craig Dawson, no thanks. Semi Ajayi.
He was almost on my my All-Star team.
Really?
Almost. Yeah, I found a better case for someone else, but yeah, he came through for me a couple times. Not so much for you, huh?
I think you caught his only goal or whatever.
Yeah, that was a big week for me.
I punted to him often. He was always negative, and then there was the red card day.
Yeah.
Never more.
Yeah.
All right, who's my right back? Oh, it's Reece James, because he has to be played with Frank because, like, I never knew if he was on sets. Like, sometimes he was on sets, and then sometimes he'd be a center back, which was more of a Tuchel thing. But I actually love Reece James. I love playing Reece James, but I just couldn't pin it down. When I faded him, he went off. He was just one of those guys for me. I'll play him a million times next year, but he just hurt me a lot. Not really a lot to get into with him, but another guy I love. He went on that run. I kept fading him. He kept scoring. And then towards the end of the season, he would be in my captain spot and he wouldn't score. I'd be like, yeah, he's finally a good pivot, and it didn't work. And then I was really excited for him to be the guy to go to in the Champions League final. And then Pep said, I don't want to play with any midfielders. And yeah.
Pep said, I want to lose 1-0.
Yeah.
I want to put nothing together.
Yes. I want to play.
What a game.
Awful. That like almost wasn't even Thomas excellence. It was Pep failure.
Yeah, I'd say, man.
It was big sad. Anyway, I love Gundo. I like half the guys I put in here, but
yeah.
All right, so here's Bruno, and it was because I didn't fade him enough, and then again I wouldn't play him enough when I needed to, and that was a bummer. He's a guy that I need to learn to fade more, I think, overall. I think playing more of him is not my solution. I think it's actually playing less of him. And as much as I come on here and preach it every week, like, I don't do it as much as I should. I get too locked in on certain guys. And in 20 lineups, like, I should make, I think, at least 3 or 4. I'll say 4. Between 3 to 5 where you fade the big shot guys.
Yeah.
And if it's 2 of them, maybe like just balance it out.
Right. I sort of like I just find myself running out of lineups trying to do that, like trying to get an even balance of who I'm fading within that work. Bruno was a nice one because I could easily go to Shaw and still feel pretty comfortable, and it worked out the couple times that it did.
Yes.
That was one. Yeah, like that's why TA made my tilt one, is because I didn't really get a nail on that. KDB was sort of, I didn't get a handle on when and where to pivot with him, but he came through enough that like it didn't make me mad.
And KDB was one during the Champions League final where I'm like, I gotta fade KDB. I gotta make sure I fade KDB, and I played him in like I think all 20 lineups. So
yep, same here. Yep.
Mason Mount.
Hey, yep.
Kind of in the James mold, except I don't really care for Mason Mount. The more I pay attention to him, the more I see like he's actually a good player. And I'm sure we'll see it in the Euros. He's creative, he progresses, but he kept my boy Ziyech off the field. I think the reason he tilted me the most is because people were smartly on him when I wasn't. And I don't think there's a lot of holes in my game. There's obviously a lot of improvement to make, but Mason Mount was a huge hole in my game for a while. and I just wouldn't have the confidence in him, and he would like shove it in my face. I don't know that there are any other guys that would do that, and I would be like, nope, I'm not playing him, and they would shove it in my face. So that I was tilted by my own, like you could put my picture here because it was a me problem. He's a good player, but he pissed me off.
Yeah, I have nothing but respect for his skills, but I agree pretty heavily with this one. The Chelsea, I feel like we could have like just done it, like put up their starting 11 and done a good case for almost every single one of those guys. Yeah. Why they'd be on the tilt team.
They or whatever. Liverpool, really. Liverpool minus Mane.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a mess.
Yeah. So there's Mount. Probably the guy who gets the armband for me. Always used to, I've brought it up a million times, always used to captain him in showdowns, never scored, stopped captaining him, started scoring. I think like it might have been literally the last match of the year. I finally started getting to him a bunch and he like scored 2, or it was the last 2. I did get to him a decent amount, but I didn't put everything else together around him. But yeah, Bobby Chompers, man, he sent me to Tilt City more than anyone that's on this screen, definitely. Maybe not Ederson.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But yeah, he's one of those where like if you play him, he'll give you 0.4 points, and especially when Jota was healthy and first got there and was coming off the bench, like he'd play 60 minutes. It's no bueno. All right.
There
Speaking of which.
Wow, a lot of Chelsea here. I get it. Yeah, that's like
That's why Uncle Frank is managing the squad.
Yes, sir.
I don't know that I need to explain this one.
Is he like a prolific misser? Is that like something that like plays out statistically for him? Because all the banter says he is.
I'd like to
all the times I've watched him whiff a goal.
Yeah, I'd like to actually look and see like what his XG was huge, and like there can be any number of things as to why there's a big difference between XG and actual goals scored, but one of them is that you're not a clinical finisher, and he ain't. He's fast, but
he does something for Chelsea. He does stuff,
right?
And he comes through big, but it's not the DFS guy. Not all the time. Not when you want it.
Right. Yeah, definitely not. Very good at being offsides, marginally.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, that's his other thing. Yeah.
I should have saved him for last, and then had the line come on the screen and just have his shoulder off.
Yeah.
And then rounding out my squad is a guy who literally made it into the side 5 minutes before we went on the air. Not even. It's Marcus Rashford, as you can see by a very bad and low quality picture of him that I forced him into the side because he just scored in the showdown where I was scripting 1-0 for everybody. He was almost here. I couldn't figure out who this last attacker was going to be, and I went with Willian. But then I realized I didn't play Willian because he sucks, and so like he didn't actually tilt me. I played Rashford a bunch, and he rarely came through, especially towards the end of the season. He really dropped off. But the nail in the coffin was the fact that he was the only guy because of form, and he was the captain, and I should have known he was on PKs, but he was the only guy today against Romania that I didn't script a 1-0 captain goal for him. And especially like Romania's keeper had a penalty save and was like in the optimal lineup.
Wow.
So that pushed him through. So it's Marcus Rashford.
That's why I said you're a braver man than me for touching this international stuff. Is like the English team, because he like, I wouldn't know. There's too many pivots. There's way too many pivots, and I want to catch goals elsewhere if they come. And boy, I would never think of Marcus Rashford except for when he does score.
Well, and James Ward-Prowse was the set taker for them today, and he wasn't even on the slate because he was a late add to the team. So
my God.
That's fine. He subbed off pretty early, I think 60 minutes. But
yeah,
so I knew it, and I know we're not covering this, but I knew Jadon Sancho would be the pivot, and he was the one guy that I just didn't move off of to get to Rashford enough. And then sure enough, he scored 4 points. He came off, and Rashford scored. So Yeah, man. So that's my squad. A lot of big name guys here.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of guys that could, just become whiffs in one way or the other. The chalk doesn't work out for you. Yeah. These are all really good picks. And quite possibly all of them were on the short list that I had going on. I don't remember.
I did see your short list. And there were a lot of guys on there that I didn't see until after I made mine, but
Oh, okay.
they made a lot of sense, and some of them made them into my side. So,
yeah.
Well, shoot, man. That's the season.
Good season. Had a lot of fun. It was. I'm looking to see what the storyline of a full season looks like with fans. Hopefully, what that looks like for playing DFS. But good experience so far. Can't wait to get back into it.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm excited for Euros, but I'm also a little scared. I kind of want to watch as a fan more than as a gambler. But
maybe we could let one round of games go by just for the love of the game, and
I got 21 tickets to the big one.
Oh, okay.
The opener, which is 100,000 to first, and a ticket to like the next king of the pitch. So I'm gonna play that one. But if it doesn't go well, I might just like take a couple rounds off.
Buddy, yeah. If you did, I wouldn't blame you at all, because that is probably my nightmare scenario.
It's gonna be a rough one.
You earned your way there. Good for you.
I guess we'll see. 21 tickets slot. Plus, I'm gonna play my allotment, so that'll be another 7. It's $20 a pop, but all right, man.
Good luck.
Thank you. Yeah. If I hit that one, we might have to recap it, but I probably won't. So.
All right, man.
Thanks to everybody who's been tuning in all season. If you've watched every one of these, God bless you. We're very thankful for it. But we'll be back. We'll be back soon. And until then, signing off.